and Mitchettes, the man, the myth, the Tuggernaut. Alex Flexes hitting you with the head crush. I'm back from military active duty. Been gone for a little bit, and the last time I did anything was back in January. So I'm slowly starting to spark with bringing some of this stuff back. I'm joined by Mr. Geeking Out, aka Freaking Out official, because we were freaking out today as to the nonsense that was popping up in the last couple of days. So there's a lot to cover. We're gonna try to do it in a short amount of time to be sensitive to Shinwar's time, and
Huh?
let. Oh man, you're a funny guy, man. All right, so I'm gonna run this
You you
intro.
you just you just woke up. What?
Yeah, it's jet lag, man. I was on the freaking West Coast, as far West Coast as you can get. Like,
And
unbelievable.
you come back to the East Coast to this nonsense.
Yeah. And it was a storm yesterday. Lost power, and one of my people, I can't say, but she lost power trying to get. You know, I feel like
Oh,
some folks are like He-Man right now. They need the power. Ding 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 ding. No, let me stop. So we're gonna run this intro. This has been brought to you by the new Gaming Order in association with Beacon Out Official. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah. All right. So while we wait for this thing to float, Shinwar, what's you been up to, brother? Quick introduction.
playing Ghost of Tsushima.
What?
Excellent game. And just waiting for the Avengers beta to drop this weekend. That's it.
You waiting for that beta? Oh yeah. You know, it's
Huh?
like he's over there salivating, but it's all good.
Yeah, I
But
mean, ever since we played it at New York Comic Con last year, I was like, you know what? I'm sold on it.
yeah, I knew you were sold on it. Wow. Wait, I'm gonna put reaction to Spider-Man lockout. I feel like I'm playing Killer Instinct, and I was trying to go um for a combo breaker, and then they're like lockout. I'm like, what? But it's all good. So with that being said, uh, as you can see, we got some B-roll footage in the background from the war table. Since YouTube is trying to destroy the new Gaming Order channel, and anything I put up there, music or whatever, that's what is this? Fair use. I'm not. Shinwar has seen a lot of screenshots of my Google email, and it's just like, man, what? Why even bother? Like, but it is what it
Hmm.
is. But with that being said, folks, a lot of you. Well, actually, I do want to set the tone of this. This is not intended because I know some folks are gonna take it this way. I'm not throwing the hatchet at any one fan base, but I will say I'm learning how toxic one fan base is, and I was under attack earlier on the IGN Facebook page, just simply getting to a point and just trying to amicably get to an understanding of, all right, try to see things from the other side of the fence. And by the time you really make a good point, they start insulting you. Just like the
Yeah.
Jim Carrey meme, where before I give Shinwar the floor because he called for this. Um,
What?
yes, I'm giving you credit for it, brother. What?
No. You call for this.
Oh, I did.
It was a joint
It,
venture. Go ahead.
this is Gogito over here. Wow, terrible. But I said that wrong too. That goes to show you I just woke up. But I have always been against console exclusivity for third party material. I've been this way since the 360 era. A lot of folks are kind of misinformed and using certain examples that are irrelevant to what's happening now. Now, that doesn't, it goes to show that this generation has been very rough for the Xbox brand because of, folks like Don Matrick, who I believe is the ultimate saboteur in dictating what the fate of the Xbox brand would succumb to with the Xbox One, the lack of, everybody knows what went down. It was just they stumbled out of the gates, and they're still paying for it till this day. And one of the casualties, or one of the side effects to what happened is, Microsoft lost a lot of support from developers. A lot of games simply did not come out on the Xbox One, and
Mm-hmm.
practices and new norms have developed that just should not be there.
Yeah.
I mentioned when we found out that Street Fighter Five was going to be console exclusive to the PlayStation. That's like the second time I've seen something like that. When you had Soul Calibur 3 that only came out on the PlayStation brand, and then there was Street Fighter 5, and then other titles, and I'm not I'm trying to understand why that was. You know.
But then hold on. But then you look at Bandai Namco,
Mhm.
who was like, well, wait a minute, let's put it out for all consoles. What was that? Tekken. What did I start with? Tekken 5? No, Tekken 4.
That was the first. No, I think it's which was it was the 360 one. Tekken 5. That was the first time it went multi-console.
Right.
Mhm. But with that being said, the point being is, when you have something available to more market brands, like the developer stands to gain more. Especially
Mm-hmm.
now where they're developing it and then they're simply porting things onto other platforms. Now, with this current gen that's coming up, that should be a lot easier for them to do. With the sheer power of the Series X that's coming, oh, excuse me, the PS5 that's on the way, um, you know, I think that now they should be on an even playing field. You know, and again, before I get into the whole point of this video, things being locked out, or there was an argument where, hey, the Xbox One, the OG, was underpowered, it's inferior. Microsoft addressed it by bringing the One X. And then more so with the Series X, they tried to take back the power narrative or remove it from the argument. And then the same people who are like, oh, the Xbox One is inferior power wise to the PS4, when once the facts change, then the argument changed. Oh, okay, we don't need power. But didn't you say that? Oh, the Xbox, the PS4 is more powerful. We have a more powerful system. Then they changed the argument. I hate that. And then, oh yeah, they don't have games and this and that. Oh, then they get criticized for buying up studios or trying to beef up and bolster their first party studios. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, why did they buy Ninja Theory? Why did they do this and that? But nobody said anything when Insomniac got bought out or Sucker Punch got bought out. It was okay.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so I don't get it with the supporters of the Sony brand, or more so the fanboys, where you see, like I said, it's like I'm a broken record saying this over and over. Like the ones that want to see their consoles supported, I get it, but I'm not even gonna put the IGN thing in the background because you'll see some of the insults when I said simply this: Avengers. Initially, some people were thinking that it's only coming out on PS4 and PS5. Shinwar had
Mm-hmm.
to, go and not White Knight, but just like, no, you do know it's coming out for PC and Xbox. It's not a console exclusive.
Yeah.
Then, I'm gonna give Shinwar some time to talk about that because it's just somehow because Sony will not have the power narrative. That got kind of thrown out the window. It's like almost I think Sony understands that yeah they're not gonna win the power narrative way, and then in terms of trying to stay afloat or stay in the lead, they're putting deals in place where it's like they can still say, well, um, a third party, or well, I have Spider-Man, and when I can go on and on about Spider-Man not belonging to Sony, But I'm gonna give Shinwar that time because some folks are really misinformed. You know, uh, it just the practices about the content that's being locked away from the PC and Xbox when it comes to Spider-Man is the most anti-consumer practice I've seen. I know both companies are somewhat guilty of this, but to this level, I mean, these folks are like all anti-consumer. With Street Fighter Five, like, I'm not gonna buy PSN. When I'm already paying for Xbox Live, so I got for PC, so I'm not paying an extra bill. Even though I can afford it, but you got me over here and over there and this and that. I'm like, look, I'm a big advocate of if you have a console and you're third party, it should be supported. I should get the same content like it used to be. But somebody was saying in that IGN you know ish show, to say the least, that oh, this is gaming now. No, if you accept it as a
Yeah,
norm,
yeah, yeah,
if you
yeah.
accept it as a norm, then I'm like, part of me was gonna boycott this, and I'm like, why am I gonna support Crystal Dynamics or buy this game when I know out of the gate I'm getting the inferior version? When if the PlayStation people are gonna purchase it for $60 or however this is gonna be priced, that for the same price I'm not getting everything.
Yeah.
That is not fair. That is not
Well,
fair. So Shinwar,
well,
you got the
to
floor, brother.
yeah. So I've been hearing, ever since Sony made that announcement for Spider-Man, for Marvel's Avengers, there's outrage, backlash, whatever the case may be. But now there's coming out about, well, how does this deal with Sony and Spider-Man? How is it? How was it? What it is now?
Hmm.
We talked about it numerous times. We know what it is.
Yeah.
Um, but
No, but
my
for the
dis
folks who are not educated, if you want to hit the summary real quick, you got the floor.
Yeah, so we all know Sony owns the rights to the Spider-Man in movie form, and all the characters with it. In regards to video games, it is considered a merchandise. So Sony did a pretty much almost like a backdoor second deal in order to have Spider-Man merchandise, well, video game, aka merchandise, and
But
for
Marvel
anybody
still
to
has it, and it's confirmed.
right, Marvel game, right, and that's how Spider-Man wound up in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Hmm.
So, but just the thing with Sony now has, whenever you think of Spider-Man, he's now, we know he's Marvel, and people know that, oh, he's Marvel, but he's
Do
also
they? Do they?
associated. Hold on, he's also associated with Sony, and Sony is really pushing the narrative in the movies, in the video games. It's like, oh wow, so not only did he have a standalone game, he's also featured with the Avengers solely on the PlayStation version.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, well, and so people will think, well, yeah, so no matter what, he ain't going nowhere else because Sony has him in the movies and in the video games, which is not true.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to my disappointment with Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix, Marvel Games for allowing this. So here's the thing: there's two sides to the coin. We have to look at the business side, which we all understand. Companies want to make money. Here's the bad part about it:
Hmm.
they divided the community. Why
Hmm.
would, okay, if you're always talking about, well, we want people to experience the game, that's all good and all, but why wouldn't you want to release that on other consoles for other people to experience it?
Hmm. Hmm.
Why would, that's the part I'm trying to wrap my brain around. If you're talking about, well, we can't wait to get this into the hands of all the people, but they're not going to experience it in its totality.
This is true, and this is true. And what I don't understand is the PC guys are finally getting a taste of the bad luck that's been happening on the Xbox side of things. Now, I said to Shinwar earlier that I noticed Microsoft is trying to take the pacifist approach. Like they used, like look,
Yeah.
they gave up the Call of Duty marketing. They gave up a couple other things, and it's like now Sony has it, and bro, they're going for the throat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Now with that, as you and I talked earlier, Sony and Microsoft are going in two different directions for the future of gaming.
Yes.
As we talked about, we see it unfolding right before us.
Mhm.
Xbox is going, well, Microsoft is going with, in terms of the Xbox Game Pass,
Mhm.
crossplay, which is nothing wrong. They're trying to. Microsoft has been like Sega, trying to be innovative, new
But
technology,
look what it
new.
got Sega though.
Yeah, I know, new hardware, peripherals, and a lot of the stuff has just been kicked to the curb. With
Mhm.
Sony, on the other hand, Sony's saying, well, hey, we got this console over here. You can play these games nowhere else. The only way you can play it is if you got a PlayStation 4. Okay, granted, there are certain games, especially first party, no problem. We
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
100.
when you bring out specific content and you lock it to one console, now you just alienated the half of the, well, I don't want to say half, well, half, well, no, one third of the 2/3 of the 2/3 of the community. You
Mhm.
just alienated
Mhm.
now, and which I just heard, the Crystal Dynamics, the head one of the head guys, and he pulled a Don Matrick and was like, "Well, if you want to play with Spider-Man, get a PS4." So there's no empathy.
Yeah. Yeah. But
There's
here's
no.
the thing: Sony doesn't care, and nor does their base, because they're like they're getting it. They don't have to worry about that. And then the PC Master Race guys are just like that's not fair and this and that. It's like this is the story of what an Xbox supporter who's punished for buying into Xbox it has been experiencing. This
Now,
is yeah, yeah. This was a tough generation to sit through. We know a lot of it, like Microsoft dropped the ball at the launch. That's why a lot of this is happening. You know. Now I fear that this is gonna become a thing where it's expected, and it should not be.
yeah,
For
it should not be.
a lot of you guys who are fighting with me on the IGN Facebook page, I asked somebody, how long have you been gaming? And he didn't answer my question for obvious reasons, because he probably wasn't alive to understand that when you go back to the era of the SNES, where you had Turtles in Time and Genesis had the Hyperstone Heist for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know, like let's say you would have an exclusive game or per se, but an equivalent. There's no
Right.
equivalent for the PC. Like, even if they did it the Soul Calibur 2 route, where you had Spawn, Link,
Yeah,
and Heihachi, that would have been cool too. But it was disappointing when Shinra sends me the link to, oh, this is the only character that's being done that way.
and
I'm
right,
like,
there'll be no other character. But to your point,
mm-hmm.
I agree that the Xbox should have gotten an exclusive character.
Or like
But you know
Wolverine
what?
because he's on the X-Men or something. Like, they play
Oh
on
yeah,
words or
oh,
something.
yeah, or whoever. But the problem would be,
Mm-hmm.
if that was to happen, then I guarantee you that the PlayStation fans would whine and complain.
This is true.
So it's like they want to have their cake and eat it too. Well, no, that's not right. Now,
But they
once
don't
again,
care, man. At the end of the day, I know what's
yeah,
gonna happen. That's why I'm probably gonna disable the comments just to avoid some of it, because you're gonna get the folks that are like, "Oh, you mad, bro," and this and that, and I'm like, listen,
well, here's the
unfortunately, Phil Spencer, if you hear this, Peter Moore, when he was with Sega, when he was with Microsoft during the 360 era, they were fighters back then. It's almost as if Microsoft their network, they have the money to stop some of these deals, but they choose not to. And it seems
yeah.
as if it's like they lost their fight, you know. And it's like at the end of the day, it's almost like sickening to watch that they're in the ring getting their heads boxed in, where Sony is trying to kill you, but you're out there trying, like, they're going head hunting, they're going Mike Tyson, while you're out here trying to do like Lennox Lewis and this tap and jab or be like a pugilist. Think Dudley to Balrog. Sony's coming in with the juggernaut punch, or Buffalo, crazy Buffalo and uppercuts and all that, and
Huh?
Dudley's out there with the speed bag. Like, no, you need to start fighting back. Now, I said to somebody, if the rumors are true, and Microsoft buys up like DC, or DC games per se, you know what's gonna happen? The folks that are on the PlayStation side will be like, well, DC was garbage anyway. What?
Yeah, I saw one comment. I saw one comment. The guy was like, "Well, I just never play a Batman game again." Now, here's my thing. Why would you say that? Just because it's Microsoft?
Yeah,
That's crazy to me,
yeah.
man.
That I
Then
don't get.
just like you tell people the Microsoft fans, oh, get a PlayStation. Well, if let's just say if that happens, then we tell you, well, you want to play the Batman game? Hypothetically, get an Xbox.
But you see, that won't work because when that happened with Killer Instinct, you have people like, oh, if it came out on PlayStation, I would support it. I don't get it. When does this narrative
Yeah.
change? When does
Yeah.
that narrative change?
Why does it matter what console it's on? Play the game.
And see, and to the flip side of the argument, they're gonna say the same thing. Oh, you want to play with Spider-Man? This, look, that's Sony's angle, and I think it's a desperate one at that. But it works. It works because you see what you guys, some of you don't know. When it comes to Call of Duty and the crossplay for Modern Warfare, they almost had an issue. They almost had an issue because Treyarch, Activision, everybody wants to bring a unified experience between the PC, the Xbox, and the PS4. Okay? Now, I was telling somebody a while back, I was playing on a team of all PlayStation guys, and I was the only Xbox guy in there. We were talking or whatever, and until I told them that I'm playing on Xbox, nobody knew, and we had a good time. And so I think the messaging and just some of the fanboy stuff is the reason why we're kind of in this state, because I played peacefully with the PlayStation side on Call of Duty. We had a good time, shared Activision ID and all that. It was cool. I don't know where this toxic hate came from. Where did that come
Well,
from?
here's the thing. So let's just be clear. So I have all three consoles, right?
Well,
Whatever game, yeah, I got a Switch, Xbox
you
One
got a
X,
Mitch.
and a
Oh,
PlayStation 4.
oh, you had some.
So
What? Oh, terrible.
I've always I've always been like, what if there's a game that I want to play, and if it's regulated to one console, I have the console to play it. Now, my
Mm-hmm.
main console is the Xbox One X. That's where all my friends are. My friends list. That's where I play.
Mm-hmm.
And I told this guy in the YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
I said, the problem is all my friends are on one console, right? What if they don't one have an Xbox? I mean, if they don't have a PlayStation, sorry, if they don't have a PlayStation, or they choose not to get the game on PlayStation,
Mm-hmm.
we want to play on Xbox. So now, Spider-Man comes out. I'll get it for the PlayStation because I want to play with Spider-Man. But now I can't do. I don't want to say I can't do that. But now it makes it hard because I can't even play with my friends, and that's another term when we come to crossplay. And now we know the game is not going to be crossplay, and I know
You
the
can't.
simple
It
fact
can't.
reason it can't.
Yeah.
It can't
You got
because of the
different
content.
content. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the major problems. It's not necessarily like Alex, you have both consoles as well.
Yes.
So it's not that well we can't get it, you know. But the problem is if everybody's on one ecosystem, why should we have to trade that in just because the content that we may want to play is regulated to another console?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the first thing somebody will say is, well, if you want to do that, go get a PlayStation 4. Well, what if my friend doesn't have it?
Or
What
even
happened to
wants
that?
it. Or even wants it.
Or even wants it. So what happened to that? Meet the needs of the people.
Yeah. And Crystal Dynamics had a responsibility to do that. You know.
Yeah, and that disappointed me, man. I'm like, wow, he really said that? He's like, well, I mean, and once again, I
But
get the
Ono, you know
business
what?
side.
Ono said the same thing. He said the same thing. He's like, oh yeah, if you wanna experience Street Fighter, like like for the Xbox folks, you can experience it on the PlayStation. He said it in a nicer way, you know.
Yeah,
But
okay, so that's the business side. We understand that. But as a player, because not everybody can afford two, three consoles, what do you tell them? Oh well, do you pretty much telling them, well, suck it up then,
yeah, pretty
or
much.
go get the console? Yeah, that's what you're telling them.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. You see, this not a problem for me and Shinwar to go and get a PS5 and a Series X or whatever. At this
Yeah,
stage in our lives, our career, we both work in IT. We make decent money. So I know that it's not an issue. But for me, where I am, and even Michael Hurdle, shout out to Salty Gamers. You know, there's priorities that change. Like let's say I
yeah,
decide to start a family, and shout out to my brother and aka best friend Shinwar getting married this year. You think that we're gonna keep dumping money into this? Like, I would prefer to have it on my preferred platform so I could take care
right.
of other things when it comes to life. And Shinwar is definitely on another journey per se. And I think I speak for the majority of folks where it's just like, I it's not that I don't have the disposable income or whatever. It's just it gets to a point where like I want to take care of priorities first and not just throw money away like that. But they don't care, bro. They don't care. Look at what's
Now,
happening with the movie industry and how Universal and AMC and Regal Cinema and all this the trash going on with that. And unfortunately
yeah,
with COVID and what's happening there, that's forcing these studios, for money and day and date for movies to come out, and then 17 days later, then you can pay $30 to watch it on stream. You know what I mean? Like it's a rough time. It's a rough time. So I just think that what should have happened, it should have been a unanimous experience that was provided to the players. Having to needle folks in terms of special missions and heroic takedowns, Spider-Man being exclusive. It's like at this point, why even insult the PC and Xbox
just
side? Just make
might
it
as well make
exclusive.
the exclusive the whole game. Yeah, might
You
as
know,
well.
you
Like
know,
if you're
like
gonna do all this.
yeah. Why insult us with it when it's just like you're giving us oh my God, that's rough. That's really rough. If anything, if anything, I think that what should be revisited is the fact that if you're telling folks, well, oh well, you're gonna deal without Spider-Man, that is going to change the experience of this title.
Yeah.
I,
Now, at the same time, I'm like Microsoft approach Crystal Dynamics with the deal, saying, you know what, and Marvel, and say, you know what, we would like to bring an exclusive character to the Xbox version. Why not?
Give us the X-Men on the Xbox. Yeah, make it fair. Do it like Soul Calibur or something. Or make it a timed exclusive. This thing where it's completely locked away, this version of Spider-Man has nothing to do with the Insomniac verse. Nothing to do with it. So where did
Yeah.
they have their laying claim on that? You know what I mean? I don't understand. You know? But I want to give a shout out to Slinky Jim who's joining us in the chat. And
And and, and,
and
and, and
Chris,
let
what's
me
going
tell
on,
you.
man?
So
Not
let me
much, just
tell
hanging
you.
out.
What the?
Let me tell you. So I've
Let me kick
seen
him off the
where.
stream. Hold on.
Hold
What?
hold on, hold on.
Let me just
Let me
interject for
tell
a
you.
moment. I just want to
Hold,
throw
hold on,
in.
hold on, hold on, hold on,
Oh,
hold on, hold
okay,
on, hold on,
okay.
hold on. So let me tell you. So I've seen the argument come from people who have PlayStation solely saying this is still not right.
Is that right?
So it's
Well, they
yeah,
have a heart.
I've seen people who have multi consoles just like you and I,
Hmm.
and also who have just the PlayStation 4 where it's like, well, don't regulate it to just one group. Let everybody experience it. But then on the flip side of that, you have the ones that, are just pretty much rubbing it in
Yeah, the
the
children.
Microsoft fans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the,
that's
the
that's
children.
pretty terrible. Yeah, it's very childish.
Now, for those that are doing it, don't worry, you'll have your day. You'll have your day because nothing lasts forever. Like Microsoft did well with the 360, and they're feeling themselves and got stupid and dropped the ball. Sony did the same after the PS2. They dropped the ball with the PS3 and so on and so forth. I think also too, this is probably like a show of force because of the fear that maybe Game Pass, XCloud, and all that is gonna become a thing. You know, I don't know. I said to Shinwar, with a threat like Game Pass, if it does take off, keeping certain content, like let's say when XCloud comes out of beta, right, and you have
Mhm.
Avengers, you could play right off of your phone, or you play Tomb Raider right
Mhm.
off of your phone, streaming and all that other stuff, and you're doing console gaming right off of your phone, or Xbox Play Anywhere, that initiative that's popping up, right? To keep certain games or certain content off of that to make it irrelevant is a smart tactic. Cut off their resources. Don't let, a potential threat become a thing. You know what I mean? Because that's gonna hurt. Because when you got
Mhm.
companies, when you look at their net worth, and Microsoft, what, 3.6 trillion, and Sony is like close to $1 billion, well, 1.5 billion, right? So it's just, I get it, it's business, but like it's good for business. It's good for Sony and Crystal Dynamics, but it's so anti-gamer. This was wrong. This was wrong. And now the PC guys are understanding that Sony, they don't care. They're like, oh well, we're not worried about it. Oh, you want it? You feel that bad about it, or whatever? Get a PlayStation. And I said to somebody, I should have the right to not want to buy a PlayStation. But
Yeah.
I know on your knees wanted to say something.
Well, there was a couple of things, but just like with most things, if you don't like what they're doing, don't give them your money. Vote with your wallet. I
I
know
was
we've been
gonna
beating that
say,
dead horse. We've been beating that dead horse for what 10 years now, more than that.
but you know what? Here's the thing too. With that, in direct response to that, like I said to myself, I'm possibly going to delay or probably not support this game. But I know from the looks of it and the beta that Shinwar and I played at Comic Con last year, like it's gonna be a decent title. It's gonna look,
Was
you
is
know,
this the Marvel one that you're streaming right now?
yes,
Yeah, the
yes.
Avengers.
Who the hell
Yeah.
is the Reed Richards ripoff? I don't recognize that person.
Reed Richards ripoff.
Oh no,
Remember?
the Mr. Fantastic, the one with the stretchy girl in here.
Oh,
Oh no, that's Miss
Kamala
Marvel.
Harris.
No, her power set's completely different
Wait, you said
from.
that's the new Miss Marvel?
Yeah, that's just the new Miss Marvel, Kamala
Okay.
Khan.
I won't say anything. But also regarding to Alex's thing on how bad the companies are doing,
Hmm.
Disney's last quarterly their quarterly report came out yesterday. I think it's
Yeah,
down $8 billion from the previous year's quarter.
because of COVID. Because of
Yeah,
COVID.
the parks are closed. They're losing all shit tons of money. Their streaming service only made like it made tens of millions of dollars. Needed to hit at least triple digits.
But they're
Streaming
doing
makes no
better
money for them.
than they're not making what they wanted to, but because of COVID, things started popping up a little more. You know,
Yeah.
like
Well, apparently,
yeah,
I never knew this, but apparently they make a shit ton of money in the parks. So
Yeah.
with the
yeah, of
park
course,
closed, yeah, I didn't realize how much of a moneymaker it was for them. That essentially finances everything they do. Their parks,
yeah.
and they essentially you could go in the park. There'll be at most 500 people in most of the parks.
Oh, and it's funny that you mentioned that. Now, for the Sony folks that were trying to in the IGN thread on Facebook that were coming at my neck, they're like, when you look at it, think like this. Marvel was in a bad situation back in the 90s. They almost went bankrupt, almost shut down, right? So
Hmm.
Marvel went into, licensures for with Universal, Fox, movie deals, so on and so forth, so that through licensing they could keep the company afloat. So
Hmm.
in that, Marvel, they bounced back. It was supposed to be, hey, we're loaning the characters out for a time being, and then the MCU started with Iron Man, and then in that, they're trying to, go and secure things, and Fox was messing up. Like some of the direction with X Men was just straight, butt crack. I'm sorry, but it got to a point where these studios didn't want to, they want trying to hold on to licenses and stuff. And what did Marvel Disney do? They started buying up those studios. You know, so the
Yeah, they
last
bought a Fox. That's right.
yeah, so they still don't fully have the movie rights for Hulk for solo movies because
But
Universal.
it's Universal, yeah.
Yeah,
What,
but
really?
Not
yeah,
yeah, not for solo movies. No.
but they could do team up movies.
Stupid. That is
Yeah.
straight
You, you,
stupid.
you see, Marvel was desperate. They I don't even think realized the deals that they were making and how it would
Yeah.
Yeah.
adversely affect
Well,
them in the future.
and they
So,
still couldn't do things right. I mean, their comic sales went up after the first Iron Man movie, and they never capitalized on it. And now the comic portion's just about dead at this
well,
point.
yeah, I think that times are changing. Like
This is true.
yeah, because look, we lost arcades, and yes, arcade is kind of keeping the memory of an arcade, but it's not the same.
Oh
Now
god, I haven't been over there in forever.
yeah, but I'm looking at the what is this? The movie industry and how we could potentially lose the movie theaters with streaming and so on and so forth, and that scares me. Because it's just like really times are changing like that. But with that said, getting to the back to the point, Sony is the last holdout with Marvel Disney trying to get their reacquire what belongs to them. All right, so folks are thinking, hey, Sony owns Spider-Man and Sony came up with no, they didn't. It was licensed out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Sony was screwing up with Spider-Man and almost lost the license, right? So Marvel is sitting there waiting and whatnot. Like, I don't know how much truth this is, but there was a theory that where Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire verse, 3 and 4, there should have been a fourth movie. So when you saw Sandman and Venom thrown into one movie, they're like, "Oh man, we gotta make good on this because we might not get a fourth film." Okay, so now it's like Sony had a deal in place where if they made films every like 3 or 4 years or something, I can't remember. It's like an hourglass. If they don't use the IP or they don't use the license, by default it reverts back to Marvel. But what Sony does is they even if the movie is trash, like they'll go and just reset the hourglass so they turn it back upside down and keep it out of Marvel's clutch. So it's
And
almost
that's
like
why there was the second reboot, right? With what's
yeah,
his face?
yeah,
Yep. With Andrew Garfield. Yep.
yeah. So
And
and you
then
saw what
hold
happened
on.
with that.
Yeah, that the second one pretty much tanked. And
Wasn't the last one
then
pretty good though, from what I saw?
Which one?
say it again.
The last movie they did with him.
Oh, that was
With
Holland. Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, but that's the one they got the deal with Marvel for
Marvel.
him to be in the MCU. But they did Into the Spider Verse, and that reset the clock as well because it's any animated feature over 45 minutes
counts as a movie.
uh counts as a movie. Yeah, so that's how they got away with that.
So
So it's
for
like,
you IGN Sony guys that were on the Facebook, we're dropping some knowledge on you. Because remember the one guy said to do his research, he didn't want to because it's sitting in his argument or in his narrative. Look it up, you'll find it. You'll find it. So with that being said, Sony is the last holdout. They're saying it's about business. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna challenge this invincibility with Sony. If it was a thing where okay, I believe Spider-Man should just have been a playable character. What are they afraid of?
hmm
I said to somebody, or there was a guy that said that if they're gonna do exclusive content, use a PlayStation character, like stick Master Chief in the Xbox version and Kratos in the PlayStation version, and then PC something else. You know what I mean? Have Master Chief as a skin or something. But what they've done is flat out take a character that it should have been a skin or something or like weapon skins or I don't get it, Easter eggs, but to flat out do this, man, there's so many other ways that could have been handled, you know and to Chris's point, if it's that big a deal, you know just don't support the game. but I was looking forward to it, you know, and it kind of like, for the PC and Xbox guys, we are going into this knowing that we have a gimped version that we have to pay
Well,
full price for. That the
Oh, and
PlayStation,
is this going to be
and
disc content or actual DLC?
it's actual DLC.
yeah, it's
Oh,
a
okay,
server
so you
based
won't be.
game.
Spider-Man's not coming out till 2021, but
Oh,
they also announced that there's more exclusive content. Actually, let me restate that. It's exclusive time content where it'll be 30 days before any other console gets it
That's why.
outside of the Spider-Man stuff.
So that pretty much confirms there won't be crossplay, because that's why Warframe is not crossplay
Yeah.
between Xbox, PS4, because the PC gets everything first. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So I don't get it. At the end of the day, I want to make sure it's perfectly clear, and I know the trolls are gonna be coming and leaving the comments and whatnot. I don't care if they lock anything out from the PlayStation side. You know what I mean? Like, here's my thing. I don't care for that stuff. I should not be punished because I've been an
Yeah.
Xbox supporter since day one. When me, On Your Knees, and Shinwar on day one playing Unreal Championship on Xbox One.
it's what?
Yeah. Remember that first day? The first day we ever played Xbox Live. I've been on it since day one.
That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
You remember the 16K uploads with Comcast Cable Vision, Comcast Cable Internet?
Oh,
Remember those days?
Yeah.
16K uploads.
Yes. Oh,
I don't miss those days, man. And when they
yeah.
doubled it, it was the most amazing thing they've ever done.
Yeah.
The 32K with 32K was high speed.
Yeah. But it goes to show, like, back then, for us, we were supporting an ecosystem way back. For me, I'm still running strong. Shinwar is still running strong. A lot of folks have fallen off with it, and that's okay. It's but now
They abandoned it.
yeah, but now if you look at, like, for me, all the games that I have is getting the rewards every month, which reminds me I have to find out what the free games are this month. There's a lot of titles that, like, okay, if I were to just uproot and leave for PSN now, a lot of things that I purchased, they're not refundable. I can't get that back. I've just been on it for so long. You're just telling somebody to just leave an iPhone to go to Android and vice versa. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to them.
Yeah, Alex, you know what I'm going to suggest to you, right?
What's that?
Join the master race.
But look at what happened to the Master Race. They're getting a little taste of what Xbox has been going through.
We've been getting that since Epic Games launched their stupid thing.
Yeah, that was Shenmue.
Yeah.
Shenmue, that's BS. That is straight BS. Like, and I haven't played it because of that.
Well, that's all right, because you could go on the high season. I get some really steep discount on things if you really want to.
What, on Epic or Steam?
No, when I say the high season, you're getting one thing, right?
Well, which we will not talk about. But yeah. So with that being said, I am very disappointed with Sony's move. They didn't have the rights on Spider-Man to do this. The deal that was struck to keep the character off is bad. This is just like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, where Mega Man and Pac-Man being locked off of the 360, and they're on the damn disc. They're on the disc. There was no reason, and they could have been tournament legal, if you let them be in there. But nope. And they never came out for the 360. Shameful.
Oh, when they put Kratos on MK9.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's their character, but he was not tournament legal. Right. That I would have been okay with, but not Spider-Man. With the comics I grew up with, me and Shinwar used to collect and all that. Like, and then you're just saying that Sony, that deal. Man, I know Stan Lee is rolling in his grave when it comes to stuff like that. But then again, the trolls are not gonna care, and you know what? This is not for you. Somebody's gonna throw MBG or all these other folks in our faces and whatnot. But me and Shinwar of Geeking Out are not the only ones who are displeased with this. I hope if we get trolled here, that they do the same thing to some of the bigger channels out there. I'm just putting it out there.
And just to clarify, in that IGN video, what's her name? I forgot her name. Begins with an S.
Mm-hmm.
It's not whatever. She was like, when she quoted the Crystal Dynamics guy, she put they edited where basically he was like, if you want to play with Spider-Man, get a PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And it cut, and she looked like, what? Like, why would you say that? Like, you don't. It's not. You're not showing empathy.
No.
You're like Alex said. It's like you're punishing a group of a community, saying, well, you're being punished for not having this.
What? It was the EA guy that said if you don't like the game, don't buy it. What was it? That one that said that for one of the Battlefields or whatever it was.
Oh, that I don't remember. Yeah, that what the first person shooter Battlefield.
Yeah, it was Battle. I forget. I don't think it was Activision. Whatever one EA does, it was that series.
Mm-hmm. I gotta look back into it.
I think no, that was the one with the chick with the robot arm. People were upset about that one.
The robot arm.
On the cover. It was Call of Duty. Call of Duty. That's what it was. Call of Duty 4. Though it was where they do an alternate version of World War II.
Oh well, yeah. Hey,
and then he said, "If you don't like the game, don't buy it." Like, you don't say that.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Oh, okay. I remember now. Look.
Yeah. It's just something you don't tell your customers.
And these are the people that keep you in business. Like, look at how studios are paying for a lot of things. Remember, we're in cancel culture right now. We're in the era of, like, people like Terry Crews getting crapped on for, saying certain things where it's like, I'm just saying, But Chris made the ultimate point. If it's like it's such a drastic thing where it's gonna change the experience or keep crossplay from happening, speak with your wallets. Alpha Omega Sin used to say this all the time when he was fully active on YouTube, and to pay homage to him is speak with your wallets. He was a big advocate of that. But in closing, I'm gonna go around the table. Chris, your final thoughts on this?
Well, I kind of came in really late, so I really had no idea for the most part what you were talking about. I kind of glimmered that it was about a console exclusives on some really shady shit. Mm-hmm. But this is next level where they have the games out. I'm new to this because I've been out of the consoles for 2 generations now. Mm-hmm. But they're having the games where there's actual really exclusive content that's be on one console, not the other, and it's third-party content, not Kratos or Master Chief or what have you.
Yeah.
And that's really scummy.
Well,
but keep in mind, companies pay for that, so you can actually point the finger at most likely Microsoft or Sony for that shit too.
Well, yeah, Sony approached them.
But somebody did say, well, Microsoft has the same opportunity, and Microsoft should.
Wait, Sony has the rights to the Spider-Man, don't they?
The movie.
Yeah.
The movie.
So that's probably why he's exclusive to the Sony platform then.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be, not for games. Not for games.
But here's the thing. Microsoft should go out and be like, well, you know what? This is what we want to do for our platform and our gamers. That's what they should do. They should do something.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. What they should do is broker a deal and get a character exclusively for the Xbox. Promote your brand. I don't know.
But you know what, Chris? I know you've been out of the loop for a little bit, but you do know that there's rumblings that WB, Mortal Kombat, Batman Arkham series might be purchased outright by Microsoft.
Yeah, I've seen those things. I've also heard Disney might be selling properties, or at least that's a rumor, because there's about to be allegedly a massive bloodletting, including Bob Iger. Apparently, he's going to have to pay back bonuses and shit, too. So there's going to be, if that comes true, it's going to be really massive. So keep an eye out for that in the coming weeks.
You know what? This is a good time to, reignite the podcast for stuff like this going on.
Yeah, I'm coming for it.
Yeah, so with that being said, Shinwar, your closing remarks pertaining to this. And I do appreciate you guys for, answering the call and, supporting. But Shinwar, your final thoughts.
I have spoken.
What the? This ain't no Mandalorian. I have spoken.
You're supposed to be like, I have 2 words for you. Suck it.
Oh, wow.
I have spoken.
Wow. Oh wow! Come on! That's terrible. All right. In
Hmm.
I'm
closing,
showing my
folks,
age now. I really am.
well,
That was 20 years ago. Jesus Christ.
hush you, hush, hush. All
Oh,
right.
please. You're older than time itself. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest person on this podcast, so it is what it is.
Well, it's
But
kind of hard to compete with 12 billion years old, but that's a different story.
you know what? I'm like a vampire. I look damn good for my age.
That you
But
do. Black on crack for sure.
what? Oh, hold on. What the heck? All right. So with that being said, um, this is bad practice. It's anti-consumer. Sony, you're showing yourselves, man. Y'all showing yourselves. I'm not telling anybody to hate Sony. I just want my console supported. Where I play most, supported. I don't care what Sony does outside of that, but we should get the same third-party support. I should not be punished because I don't. Since I shouldn't be punished because the PlayStation is not my lead platform. Think about that, Crystal Dynamics. Think about that, developers. Like this is wrong. This is really wrong, and you're gonna get a lot of backlash and a lot of negative comments per se. You know, don't mess up like Neil Druckmann in Last of Us 2. You know, I'm just gonna leave
Oh,
it at
I'm
that.
done. I don't want to open up this can of worms. I'm
You know,
done.
because what's
I'm
gonna
out.
happen?
That's too much.
What's
You
gonna
killed me,
happen?
Alex.
What's gonna happen is, you know, it's gonna be dry, and it's gonna be Abby in that scene, and I'll just leave it at that. So, so with that said, I want to thank y'all for watching. Make sure, shut up. I can't even talk. I can't even talk. Oh, so I want to thank Shinwar of Geek It Out. On your knees, you know, he's like our ride or die member. You know, make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. And again, I know the trolls, y'all coming for me. You know, I'm just gonna screenshot these comments and stick them in the IGN um, page just to show how toxic some folks can be. You know, I made valid arguments, and then they started insulting me.
Well,
Jeez.
Alex, there's two ways to be trolls. You either don't feed them or you troll them back even harder.
Nah, I'm not one for that. I just, you know, I disengage from some of the arguments because it's like now you're trying to insult me, and it's like, okay, I'm never gonna be a blind gaming consumer. What I will do is always try to be fair and impartial, like my NCO creed in the army says. I like balance, you know. And if Sony was so big and bad, why can't they lean on their first party stuff to keep them afloat? They already won this generation. I don't see why Spider-Man has to be that extra when they already
I
got
thought Nintendo won
Horizon.
the generation.
What's that?
I thought Nintendo won the generation.
I don't know. Well, right now it's already declared that the PS4, because of
Yeah.
because of the mistakes Microsoft made out of the gate with Don Matrick, I want to bison stomp him. Like, you know, oh my god, I want to do Finn Balor's finisher on him like multiple times for doing this. But this is all your fault, Mr. Matrick. Take a bow, you jerk. The man, the Mr. Juggernaut. Alex Flexus, I am outie. Peace.
Alex Flexus? What?